It's 5-star season, folks. The 5-star Grand Prix is almost here. And boy, oh boy, am I terrified. And when I say I'm terrified, it's because there's so many shows. And they announced that all of them are going to be live, which is great. Listen, I don't need any other house show ever to be live besides the 5-star Grand Prix ones. Not because I'm going to watch them all live. I cannot do that at all.
You're not that crazy.
But it means I can just watch them. So that's nice. Like,
here I was going to propose to you that we do post-show live reactions after every 5-star Grand Prix live. You know, I thought you were going to be dedicated.
The funny part is, if they weren't like ungodly times for me, I probably would have said yes because I'm a psychotic person. That's an idea though. Record after. If I watched it the day of, it'd be something. But there's no way I'm watching it. There are okay. All right. Time, hold. Let's get to the official announcement. So at the press conference, 5-star Grand Prix overview was revealed. And it is brand new. And I don't love it. So if anyone's ever heard me talk about the G1 the past couple of years, I hate the 4-block system. Hate it. Love the 2-block system. What did New Japan do this year? They went back to the 2-block system. And I was like, bravo, you did the right thing. But I realized, and me and Trent have talked about this many times. I've talked about this with a few people. There's no way this can be 2 blocks this time around. Because there are 13 shows, because there's 2 on one day, in 21 days. And before I make my wise remark, because there will be one, 13 shows in 21 days. 4-block system. But the trick is here, folks, despite being a 4-block system, it's really still treated as 2 blocks because they are wrestling every other day still. The conversation we had is we went off the dates and we said, oh, they can't do 2 days. They'd be wrestling every other day. That's not good. That's going to hurt them. Well, folks, let's get the graphic up, shall we? We have 4 blocks. They don't know more than 2 colors, but we have 4 blocks. It's Red Stars A, Red Stars B, Blue Stars A, and Blue Stars B. When I woke up and I saw this, I said, shit. Went to the 4 blocks. I didn't want the 4 blocks. Hate the 4 blocks. Second reaction was, hold on. How the hell is this going to work? So before we get to the competitors and the blocks and the exciting parts of this, because obviously there is much excitement that comes with the 5-star, I'm not going to lie here. We do have to talk about the elephant in the room from last year, which was the 5-star schedule is too grueling. Right? That was the big talking point last year. A bunch of wrestlers got hurt. Everyone got hurt. It was expanded over a multi-month. It was like 2.5 months long, wrestling every weekend. Some wrestlers, didn't have tournament matches some weekends, so on and so forth. So, right, Julia talked about it. Julia, very smart, knew I'm not going to be here for it, so I don't need to worry about it. But in all seriousness, it was like, okay, we do need to change the schedule because people are getting banged up. I don't know what the answer is. I thought month and a half. Right? Month and a half. Give someone, give maybe people a week off in the middle. You do the tournament match.
No pay-per-views in between.
Right. No pay-per-views in between, which is gone. That is true.
Yes.
Pay-per-views are gone.
Could you imagine if they were squeezing a pay-per-view in between
Jesus
this?
Christ, no. So my idea was 1 weekend, 1 day is Red Stars, the other day is Blue Stars. Easy. Right? They wrestle once a week for a month and a half, and then you work to the final. Maybe the last week you do 2 shows or something. Like, you're doing 2 shows per day, whatever. You get my point. Because I still think stretching out was not a bad thing. It just was way too far stretched out. A lot of matches. They were also still doing tag matches. My idea was also to eliminate those.
Yes.
They did
Which they seem to be
those.
doing here.
Yeah, because they're wrestling every other day. Let's look at the schedule. Okay. So the schedule goes from August 10th to August 31st. As I said, 21 days. Everyone wrestles day one.
Mm-hmm.
The opening on the 10th, everyone wrestles.
Mm-hmm.
That's a classic. For the most part, everyone usually wrestles for the most part on day one. Not everyone, but most. Okay. In the past, it's been different, but my point is, so the 10th day one, everyone wrestles. The 11th, Red Stars wrestle. So both blocks of Red Stars wrestle. The 12th, they both wrestle again. Blue Stars has their first day of lone block action because it is a 2-show day. We have a day and night show. Red Stars wrestles 3 straight days. Okay. Blue Stars. Holy shit, there's 2 2-a-days? Oh, I didn't even know. Oh, no, they all wrestle on the 15th. I believe it's a Corkin, actually. So they all wrestle on the 15th. Okay. Blue Stars wrestle on the 17th. Red Stars wrestle on the 18th. Blue Stars on the 20th, 23rd, 24th, 20th, and they all wrestle on the 25th. And that brings us to a new quarterfinals, not semifinal, quarterfinal. So whoever makes it to the quarterfinals is now wrestling 7 matches. This is 18 days. Okay. 7 big tournament singles matches in 18 days. Whoever makes it to that makes it to the semifinals on the final night. Okay. That's math. 8 matches in 21 days. And whoever makes it to the finals, 9 matches in 21 days. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I don't understand. But to me, this is grueling as hell for these wrestlers because they don't have an off switch. They're going to go all out every match they have. The Red Stars are wrestling 3 days in a row, tournament matches, guaranteed. After the big thing last year of the tournament, where was it this year? This is ridiculous. I'm not gonna hold back. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous as a viewer to keep up. For them, I feel terrible for them. Their bodies are going to be broken down. What are your thoughts on this, Trent?
I'm not an athlete. I used to play sport. For various reasons, I'm not athletic. I never was athletic, but I'm definitely not now. I used to bemoan having to play 2 basketball games in 2 nights. My body would freeze up and stuff. I really can't imagine how this is going to work. Like, I understood the complaints that people had with last year's system. 2.5 months was ridiculous, and it really wasn't planned out well for a multitude of reasons. Pay-per-views right before and after. The schedule was weird because, like, they would run 5-star Grand Prix events where there was 1 Grand Prix match on it, and the rest was just random matches in between. It feels like they looked at the plan from last year and were like, that didn't work. How can we take that and go in the exact opposite direction? They looked at the injuries they had and gone, this didn't work. What is the exact opposite that we can go, and went the exact opposite extreme. Now, obviously, the first few days are horrific. It gets a little easier sort of at the end because there's like a couple of days break in between for the Red Stars and the Blue Stars. Like you've got 3-4 days here and there to kind of recoup. Where in theory, you're not going to the other shows, you can rest up a little bit. But it's still, to me, I don't see how this schedule's better on their bodies than last year's, where you've got a week in between, and you might have where the argument would be you should at least be taking it easier on the tag matches, and you could say, look, just take it easy when you tag in. Don't go 100%. Look after your body. Here, you don't have that option. You've kind of got to go hard in these tournament matches because that's what you do in the 5-star Grand Prix. You're not going to have that same situation. The other thing I feel bad for is, okay, the wrestlers can kind of take the breaks when they're not, like the Red Star
Yeah.
wrestlers can take breaks and the Blue Stars. I
The
would assume all
maximum
the
days
support
off is 3,
stuff.
by the
Yeah,
way.
but I assume the support staff, they're not splitting the support staff. So I assume like the referees are going to be doing both shows. The people setting up the stuff, social media crew and all that, I presume they're making all these events. So that's rough on them as well. Like we're talking about the wrestlers, and obviously they're putting their bodies on the line. They're the people going to be getting injuries and all that, but it's rough on everyone involved as well. I I can't see how they planned this out, and they thought this makes sense from a medical perspective on the people who have got to do everything involved here. How is this better? Well, I'm sure it's going to make them money, and it allows them to keep the pay-per-view cycles
Yeah.
because obviously this means they can still run pay-per-views monthly and it doesn't break the cycle here like it would have if they had to run it over 2 months or whatever. But I just don't see how this is protecting talent. If they get through this and there's not injuries, and they get through this and there aren't wrestlers taped up like the Mummy at the end of this, I'm going to be completely shocked because I just don't see how you don't get major injuries with this kind of schedule, wrestling the way they do so frequently. It's just asking for trouble.
It's I can't even say it's like it's not even like a G1 schedule. Right? Like
G1 wasn't ever this bad.
the G1, you're not Red Stars are wrestling 3 days in a row to start the tournament.
Yeah.
That could be brutal for any wrestler because again, they're not going to just take the match off. That's not what they do.
No.
They don't take matches off. There's some wrestlers that are very smart. If they're not in a big main event spot, they are going to all right. Tam is very smart. Okay. I have to use the example. I always give her credit for this because in the big matches, say she faces Mayu or someone, she goes all out because it's a big corking match. It's usually one of the best matches of the tournament. When she goes all out, she has one of the best matches of the tournament. But there'll be shows when she faces, say, in the past years, like an Ida or something like someone of that realm, and she'll do the basics, she'll get through it, and she'll win or whatever, and it'll be fine. But there's some wrestlers that don't do that.
No.
There's some wrestlers that are going out there to try to prove something. Suzuki's going to be coming off an injury and entering this tournament as one of the top of her block. She's one of the big pictures. Hello, she's one of the big pictures. Yeah. This is grueling. This is brutal.
Yeah.
And selfishly, it's a lot of wrestling in a very little time. It's a lot. It's a lot to cover. It's a lot to follow. If this was August 1st to August 31st with the same exact setup, it would be that much better because there's just a little more time. Still rough, but just a little more time. You and me had said either you would think they do 4 blocks with 4 people each because then you do 1 block per day.
Yes.
Or you do 2 blocks of like 16 total, right? Go back to the old way. They didn't do either one. And like, I'll admit, selfishly, I was worried about like, if we do 4 blocks, 4 people, the quality is going to be down. Instead, we're doing 4 blocks, 28 people?
28, yep. Ironically, we've got 4 blocks, 4 people listed here. And if that was the 4 blocks of 4, it would actually be pretty amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the blocks themselves. We talked about the schedule. The schedule's rough, brutal, tough, grueling. It's going to be grueling. I hope for all of them they stay healthy. I really do. Because that end of last year was so brutal. Everyone was going down with injury. Obviously, it started at the very beginning with Saya and just didn't stop until the final day.
That puts the pressure on the wrestlers who survived it, because then they're having to work harder to keep the ship going,
right?
Which then puts the likeliness of injury up on them as well. And you just saw that it took until pretty much a month into 2024 for them to really recover from the 5-star last year. It was that bad.
The only good thing,
which showed the problem with the schedule,
is they have one total show from July 29th to August 9th. They have one show, so they'll be able to heal up before it, but it doesn't matter. It's so many matches.
Yeah, that's at least something. Like, they're giving them the rest beforehand, which is good. That's one of the things we wanted. And with the condensed schedule, I guess that's maybe one of the concessions they're making, of we're going to pack the schedule, give you a break beforehand. I don't know if it's still too extreme. Again, I would hope maybe they've consulted medical experts and sports physicians, and if this is the best way to do it. Again, I'm not a sports expert. It feels like it's not the best way. But again, if they get through this perfectly healthy, I'm happy. I'd rather be proven wrong and they get through perfectly healthy than us get to the end of August and go, I'm not surprised we're looking at 4 people injured.
So they're going for it's similar to the G1 in that way. Like, it's all in a month span, essentially. Just feels like a lot into one. I know, I believe the G1 has more dates as well, but you get my point. It's rough. It's a lot. And I just don't see how it's better. The G1, the New Japan wrestlers have long complained about this is not good on the body. It's just, but it's the way it goes. So whatever, sure. The final, of course, will be on the 31st. Always one of the best shows of the year. What I will say this, because I don't want this to be all negative. I do like the quarter semi fun. Like, that's fun. That's different. Because if you're going to do the blocks like this, I do want to see more of the wrestlers from other blocks facing off and things like that. So that's cool. I like that when they did that with the Best of Super Juniors. They've added it to, and they did it last year with the 4 blocks in the G1. I think that's great.
Intrigue. You're sort of doing the math a bit more opportunity for upsets. And
opportunity for upsets, opportunity for more people to get into bigger spots. That's cool. So I'm cool with that. What I'm also cool with is, of course, the incredible talent that we have here. So Red Star's A block is as follows. You have Micah, the World of Stardom champion, Natsuko Tora, Hazuki, and Natsupoi. So an interesting 4 there. Obviously, I'm looking at Hazuki and Natsupoi as the match of the block so far. There will also be 3 wrestlers per block to be added sometime in July. What does that mean? They didn't really explain that. They didn't say it was going to be a play-in. They didn't say it was going to be. All I know is if May Sarah's not in this damn thing, then what? How? First, how? Second, I'll make another joke after. Anyways, Red Stars B is the block so far by a lot. I always selfishly say, just book all the Mayu matches and I'll be happy. They booked all the Mayu matches. The one complaint I have, which could still happen, it could still happen because of the quarters and semis and finals. I'm not getting Mayu versus Starlight Kid. What the hell is this? This is what I sign up for every year. I got robbed of it last year. And listen, do I think that Taro Kai has a clue that that's a very important match? I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not too sure. But we are getting Mayu Utani, Tam Nakano, Azumi, and Mo Watanabe all in the same block. I can't complain about that. I can't. Tam, Mayu, again. I'm going to be really upset if Taro doesn't figure out their history by that time. Because if Tam just wins a random 5-star match, I will be very upset. That's a story that's gone on for years. So figure out all the stories, Taro. Blue Stars A. It's an interesting block. We have Sayori Ano, Starlight Kid, Xena, and of course, the crown jewel of all 5 stars, Shuri. I don't know how to feel yet. This block is going to.
When you look at these, it's always like who's going to challenge champions and stuff. There's no like immediate, oh, you're definitely going to beat the champion. Because Starlight Kid challenged Sayori early in the year. Xena kind of did the fake out challenge before challenging Micah. Shuri, I mean, could challenge Sayori for the white belt. That'd be a very interesting match. But she's always felt more like a red belt challenger.
That might not matter.
It's an interesting situation.
Yeah, I will tell you everyone if I'm happy with Shuri's block when the other 3 are entered. Because Shuri's block is always the most important block. Is Shuri gonna have 6 bangers? Is Shuri, like that's how this works. Like I know Mayu has 3 locked in. That's great for me to see. I have very important, Hazuki and Natsupoi, they have each other. So that's cool. And I think they'll both have good matches with Micah. I don't know how to feel about Natsuko. Natsuko obviously had the big tournament last year.
I like her pairings in this. I think her and Micah work well together. Hazuki and her should work well. And I think Natsupoi will bounce off of her quite well. I like the pairings.
And then there's Blue Stars B, which is a very odd block for me. You have Suzuki, obviously the reigning 5-star Grand Prix winner, Saya Kamatani, Ami Sourei, and Hanan, the Cinderella winner. It's so once upon a time, aka like last year or 2 years, last year pre-injury, I'd be very excited about this because it's Saya, it's Suzu. You know how much I love that matchup. Hanan's leveled up. Woohoo. Ami Sourei. Ami Sourei and Hanan have good chemistry, so I'm actually looking forward to that. They replay the Cinderella final, stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see how Ami does. This is a big tournament for Ami. This is like, all right, you go out there and shine. You have 3 great opponents here. But my point is, Saya Kamatani has not been Saya Kamatani since the injury. So we'll see what she looks like at the end of this, for sure. But those are the blocks. 4 blocks. It's really weird because it's like 2 blocks, but it's 4 blocks. Like they're calling, like it's days, Blue Stars Day, Red Stars Day, but it's odd.
It makes discussion difficult. Like, when talking, the Red Stars on actually Red A. Which one's Red A again? I get it in terms of like working out the days, but
I always do a big 5-star preview. Last year I had my finals being Saya Kamatani and Utami. They both got injured by the end of it, so that was great. I still feel pretty confident that was going to happen. Because Saya, at Utami winning, Utami wasn't winning. The report was Saya was winning. Either way, I felt pretty good about the final. This year, I know who's winning. I just don't know who the final is. It's different, like, spoiler alert. If Tam doesn't win, I don't know what the hell's happened. But yeah, that's it. That's the 5-star Grand Prix. It's weird. It's new. It's still as grueling, if not more, than last year, which is my biggest gripe. But it's going to be some tremendous wrestling. That's the one guarantee every single year. I just hope everyone is able to stay healthy. And I don't blame anyone that takes it easy some days because, like I said, going to be tough. Do you expect some outside interest? There's 12 spots to fill. You would think at least one outsider's coming in.
So we talked about like Tomoka Inaba feels like probably sneaking in, probably in Red Stars A if we had to guess with the Micah connection. I've been going back and forth on how easy it is to incorporate an outsider because it's a very heavy commitment. You pretty much have to be all in on Stardom for these 3 weeks, but it is only 3 weeks in the grand scheme of things. Like if
Mm,
you're a freelancer, like it's less than a month to just fully commit to one group. You could probably afford that and not working the other companies. So I think we probably get a couple of people, but like Stardom, you know, they have enough people that they can fill most of these spots with, at the very least, good to great talent and not need to call in too many outsiders to fill the spots. It just feels like if you're going to do 28 people, you've got to have a couple of people from outside your promotion if you're going to have this many. Otherwise, why run 28 people? Yeah. So I
mm.
think Tomo Kanaba, one or two others, they've been running so many of these like working with outside promotions. Though, like if you ask me to guess who, I couldn't because I feel like there's going to be someone they'll call in, and it's just going to be, oh, I didn't even see you coming. So
Mhm.
don't ask me to guess.
Yeah.
That'll be part of the fun.
It will be. There is still a lot of fun, many previews to be had, many conversations to be had as we
Mm.
follow up. It's nice to know that we have it. That's the
Yep.
one good thing 2 months out. So
Good
anyone that does
starting base
content,
of conversation.
yes, anyone that does content, aka me and Trent, that do this, it'll be fun. Look forward to see the last 12 competitors. Just a lot of people fell. Oh, and my final joke, I find it very funny that 16 people were announced, and the challenger for the AEW Women's World Title was not one of them. Anyway, at least like I don't know, I consider her a top 16 talent in the company. Found it kind of weird she wasn't in, but
Also, can I just say I like the logo for the tournament this year.
yes, it's a good logo. That is true.
Mm.
It follows like the theme of the past few, but I think it's very, very good. Um, yeah, early prediction for MVP. Can't give you one. I mean, it's gonna be someone in Red Stars B, you'd think, but
Yeah. Probably I'm going to say Azumi.
yeah, Azmi's been on like another level this year, I feel.
Mm.
So like I'm very excited for her tournament as well. I'm very excited for a lot of these tournaments. That's the one thing I want to say. While I'm very upset about the schedule because it does seem really tough for them, it's still the 5 star. I'm still excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we just wish
I'm
the
going to
best.
complain, but I'm also excited. And the, the one thing is they're running it all live. Like,
Mm,
yeah. Could you imagine if they tried to do this last year? And I'm
no.
just mercifully thankful I live in a great time zone for this to be